My image is crap. That's what Robert Redford told the New York Times, a bold declaration from a man the world once worshipped for his looks. But behind that line was a deeper truth. A truth tied to a dream he spent his entire life building. A dream that would one day transform everything we know about cinema and filmmaking. Before Robert Redford became the face on every magazine cover, he was just a quiet kid from Santa Monica, California. A boy who never quite fit into the mold everyone expected. He wasn't the brilliant student. He wasn't the star athlete. He was the observer, the kid who sketched, wandered, and stared at the world as if trying to decode it. His teenage years were messy, filled with uncertainty and unanswered questions. But inside him, a small flicker was growing, the beginning of a dream he couldn't yet define. After losing his mother at a young age, he drifted through Europe, searching for meaning in art, culture, people, and in himself. And it was there, in the galleries, the cafes, the stories of strangers, that Redford felt the first pull towards something bigger. Stories are not for the famous. Stories are for everyone. He didn't know it yet, but the dream had just begun. When Redford returned to America and began acting, he didn't do it for fame. He did it because storytelling felt like the only thing that made sense. But Hollywood saw something else. Barefoot in the Park made him a rising name. Then Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid exploded. Then The Sting. Then The Way We Were. Suddenly, Robert Redford wasn't just an actor, he was an icon. But while the world loved him for his looks, Redford felt trapped inside an image he didn't want. And that's when he said it. The image is crap. Because while everyone saw the star, he saw the obstacles. He saw the countless young filmmakers who didn't have his access, his visibility, his chance. And inside him, the dream kept growing. Every film he chose in the 1970s, The Candidate, Downhill Racer, All the President's Men, was more than entertainment. They were bridges. Bridges he was building towards something greater than his own career. He wasn't chasing fame. He was preparing the ground for a revolution he hadn't yet revealed. The 1980s opened with a surprise. Robert Redford, one of Hollywood's brightest faces, makes a choice no one expects. He steps away from the spotlight. He turns his back to the glamour, the fame, the safety of a career already made. He moves behind the camera. And this shift feels bold, risky, untamed, almost reckless. But Redford moves with calm certainty. He knows he must try something new. He knows he must follow a path that pulls him deeper than acting ever did. His first film as a director, Ordinary People, hits the world like a quiet storm. It speaks in soft tones. It shows pain without shouting. It opens wounds with honesty, not spectacle. Hollywood watches and then Hollywood applauds. The film wins Best Picture and Best Director, proving one thing. Redford is not just a star. He is a storyteller. He can shape emotion. He can lead actors into fragile spaces. He can create a world that feels true. And instead of stopping there, he keeps going. Next comes A River Runs Through It, a film that moves like memory. Sunlight on water. A family on the edge of loss. The ripple of choices that echo for years. Redford directs it with the tenderness of someone who knows what nostalgia feels like. Someone who knows how time can bruise us and heal us and change us. Then he gives us Quiz Show. Sharp, precise, controlled. A film about truth, deception, and the price of fame. Redford frames every scene like a question. What do we hide? What do we reveal? What do we trade away just to be loved? Film after film, he builds a body of work filled with quiet emotion and deep humanity. No explosions. No tricks. Just people flawed, hopeful, searching, caught in moments that shape them forever. But directing isn't the finish line. It isn't the destination. It's another step. A long step toward something that sits inside him for years. Because Redford still carries a dream. A dream he holds since his wandering days across Europe in his youth. Back when he felt like an outsider. Back when he saw art locked behind invisible gates. Back when storytelling seemed like a private club where only a few names mattered. Where only a handful of voices got to speak. Where everything felt exclusive, closed off, guarded. He remembers that feeling. He remembers standing on foreign streets, watching other artists find their place, find their people, find their chance. And he wonders why America doesn't have a space like that. A space where new creators can take risks, break rules, and shape stories without fear. So as he keeps directing, he moves closer to this idea. Every film teaches him something. Every project sharpens his vision. Every set becomes another classroom where he studies how stories grow, how talent blooms, how voices rise when someone believes in them. He feels the dream taking shape. Slowly, quietly, patiently, he gets closer to the idea that will redefine his whole legacy. Closer to the place where actors, writers, directors, and dreamers will gather with nothing except their passion. Closer to a future where young filmmakers won't need permission to try. They won't need fame. They won't need power. They will only need a story. And Redford wants to build that world. He wants to create a home for it. A sanctuary. A new frontier. Behind the camera, he finds clarity. Behind the camera, he finds purpose. Behind the camera, he sees the blueprint of the dream he has waited decades to create. And soon, very soon, that dream will step into the light. It will become more than an idea. It will become a movement. It will become a festival, a platform, a revolution. But for now, the story holds its breath. The pieces shift quietly into place. Redford stands at the edge of something huge. A vision that will change filmmaking forever. He doesn't know it yet, but he is about to open a door. A door millions of storytellers will walk through. A door that will carry his legacy far beyond the roles he played. Far beyond the films he directed. Into a future where stories belong to everyone. Far from Hollywood. Far from the limos, the premieres, the endless noise. Robert Redford settles into the quiet of the Utah mountains. Cold air, tall pines, a landscape untouched by fame. And here in this silence, he builds the thing his entire life points toward. The Sundance Institute. And later, the Sundance Film Festival. This isn't a festival for the wealthy. Not for the elite. Not for red carpets or flashing bulbs. It isn't a gift to studios. It isn't a favor to executives. It stands for something else. It stands for the unheard, the unseen, the young filmmaker with a script in their backpack and no place to go. The storyteller who works in a diner by day and writes scenes by night. The creator who has talent but no door to walk through. Redford doesn't just create a festival. He creates a home where voices can grow, where ideas can breathe, where stories can break open and rebuild stronger. A place where scripts get polished, where actors find their first real role, where filmmakers can try, fail, try again, and feel safe doing it. Workshops, labs, mentors, mountains full of possibility. Sundance becomes a refuge, a training ground, a launchpad, and from this dream, a generation rises. Ava DuVernay, Steven Soderbergh, Quentin Tarantino, Ryan Coogler, directors who reshape modern cinema, directors who shift culture itself. All of them catch their first spark at Sundance. But Redford isn't just a founder standing in the background. He is present. He is there in the rooms where it happens. He sits in cramped editing bays. He watches early, unfinished cuts. He gives notes, firm but kind. He listens. He asks questions. He guides. He mentors with steady patience, telling young creators the words he wishes someone once told him. Your story matters. Keep going. And people believe him. Because he means it. Because he lives it. Because Sundance is not a brand. It is his heart on a mountain. At last the dream has a name. At last the dream has a home. At last the dream breathes. It lives in the snow, the cabins, the screenings, the late-night talks, the risks, the heartbreaks, the triumphs. It lives in every filmmaker who walks into Sundance with fear and walks out with fire. Redford builds a world where stories find their wings. A world that changes cinema forever. And now, Sundance stands alive. Alive with possibility. Alive with new voices. Alive with the dream he carried since his youth. Finally real. Finally here. And now, we reach the moment when the news arrives. Quiet at first, soft, almost unreal, Robert Redford has passed away at 89 years old. The world pauses, messages rise, headlines echo, but the grief isn't for a movie star alone. It isn't for the handsome face that once filled posters. It isn't for the charming outlaw, the clever spy, the iconic rebel. The world mourns a visionary, a builder, a protector of stories, a man who reshaped the way artists begin. Redford never wanted his legacy tied to beauty. He never chased the idea of being the golden boy forever. He never cared about the spotlight that Hollywood tried to keep on him. He stepped out of it again and again. He didn't want to be remembered only for the roles. Not for the hits, not for the classics, not even for the films he directed so carefully, so thoughtfully, so honestly. What he wanted was simpler, deeper, more human. He wanted to be remembered for the dream he carried as a young man wandering Europe, the dream he nurtured in silence, the dream he built plank by plank in the mountains of Utah, a dream meant for the unheard, the unseen, the unnoticed. He wanted to be remembered for opening a door, a real door, a door that didn't exist before he built it, a door for the writer who felt invisible, for the student who had no connections, for the filmmaker who held talent but not access, for the storyteller who had something to say but nowhere to say it. Sundance became that door, a door that stayed open year after year, a door that never judged, a door that welcomed voices the world didn't know it needed. And today, when we watch a Sundance film, raw, bold, fresh, we feel his touch. When we hear a new director speak with courage, we hear his influence. When we see a new voice break through the noise, we witness the promise he made to the next generation. A promise to believe in them, a promise to lift them, a promise to give them space. We are watching Robert Redford's dream. Alive, growing, unfolding, a dream he spent his entire life shaping with patience and purpose. A dream he guarded, protected, and passed down. A dream that continues to ripple through cinemas, festivals, classrooms, and hearts around the world. His life ends, but his dream does not. His dream stands taller than any award. It stands clearer than any role. It shines brighter than any spotlight. Because Robert Redford didn't just change Hollywood. He changed storytellers. He changed futures. He changed what was possible. And now, every time a new filmmaker steps into the light for the first time, every time a bold story finds its audience, every time a quiet voice becomes impossible to ignore, we are seeing him. We are seeing the dream he built. A dream that changed cinema forever.